Eradicating poverty in all its forms remains one of the greatest challenges facing humanity. Presently, some 1.3 billion people around the world live in multidimensional poverty, and half of all people living in poverty are under the age of 18. Threats brought on by conflict, natural disasters and food insecurity exacerbate poverty, and those living in multidimensional poverty remain increasingly vulnerable to the impacts of environmental degradation and climate-related disasters. COVID-19 has caused the fast increase in global poverty in decades, and we are experiencing the effects of the pandemic here in Uganda as it has caused severe economic and social disruption and presents a very real immediate threat to the livelihoods of vulnerable groups. Eradicating poverty in all its forms remains a key commitment for UNDP Uganda through 2020 and beyond.
From where we sit as UNDP, there are 4 areas of work that we are very interested in supporting countries to build forward better and to recover, and even beyond 2030. And there are 4 areas we're looking at. One is in the area of social protection. The second is in the area of digital innovation, which is very interesting. In the case of Uganda, for example, for the first time, we launched an app with Jumia, UNDP Jumia app, which really looks at how we're connecting the farmer and the market vendor online, which is happening for the first time, that you can connect a market woman sitting in Nakawa to Jumia. And so how do we build on some of these innovations that we have seen? The third area is in the area of governance. How we govern beyond COVID becomes very important. It is not only an issue around the political dimensions to it, but efficiencies in public sector. What do we do differently? The private sector, corporate sector, that's very, very important. But also we believe strongly in green recovery. In other words, as we recover, let's look back again at our natural resources, how we can use that as a way of propelling recovery. We have just launched a Youth for Business facility, which looks at supporting young people whose business have been impacted during the COVID to recover in the area of agriculture, tourism, energy, mining, for example. So overall, I think it's going to be collective efforts, all of us, by private sector, by government, by religious bodies, by the UN, that it cannot be business as usual.
Alongside the Government of Uganda, UNDP has successfully piloted the Uganda Graduate Volunteer Scheme, creating equitable access to skills development and mentoring, and providing opportunities for youth employment, entrepreneurship, and job creation. In partnership with World Vision and Save the Children, the Uganda Host and Refugee Community Empowerment Project is generating emergency employment opportunities with a focus on women and youth. The initiative brings together economic empowerment and gender transformative interventions to improve livelihoods of the most vulnerable. As the COVID-19 pandemic spread around the world and eventually to Uganda, UNDP got an early start in trying to understand the implications of the pandemic for Ugandans who may be left behind. In an effort to better understand the socio-economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on vulnerable and marginalized groups in Uganda, following the guidance of the UN Secretary-General, UNDP spearheaded a UN-wide report which identified potential impacts of COVID-19 for sectors such as tourism, manufacturing and trade, and the impacts on informally employed workers and micro, small and medium enterprises. With this work, UNDP Uganda will move forward in periodically updating this analysis to ensure that policy decisions and interventions are leaving no one behind, from the COVID-19 response all the way to recovery and post-COVID-19 resilience building. The UN Cooperation Framework for Uganda 2021-25 and UNDP's Country Programme Document for Uganda 2021-25 serve as key planning instruments to guide UNDP partnerships and interventions in the pursuit of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, in which Goal 1 is end poverty in all its forms everywhere.